It's the When Fishing Podcast. Applying techniques.
Then I put the C rigs on the A rigs.
Bringing fresh ideas.
They can all be good ones.
Talking stories. Reports.
About 5 knots out of the wind.
Conservation.
You're probably too close.
All to make you and I better fishermen. Heyo. Welcome to another episode. I love that dead air. Let's get into it. Ah, man. I don't think I fished last week. I tried to. But, you see. Yeah, I tried to. I brought out the boat and I put it all together, you know, me and my little fucking inflatable bullshit, and put it in the water, and then pulled on the pull start to go, and then the pull start didn't pull. Went out like 6 inches and jammed, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then, normally if I can get it to turn over, I have faith that there's just something stupid. There's all sorts of little stupid things that you got to troubleshoot with the little outboard. But this one, it seemed like the flywheel was jammed or something like that. So yeah, we're getting right into the dirt here on this episode. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't have the tool. I didn't have a wrench set or whatever the hell to undo the fasteners to get into the flywheel. So I pulled the boat out of the water, and then I put everything away, and I drove home. $15 in ramp fees less in my pocket. That was sad. That's fucking frustrating. So, yeah, that was my one shot to fish last week, at least from the boat. I suppose I could have, woken up earlier and gotten out, but I'm trying to sleep a lot right now because I'm new to one job, working 2 jobs total, so trying to make ends meet here while trying to put together a podcast full of reports and vigor, and just turn it out how it is. You commit to a podcast, and then the universe says, "All right, let's throw you some curveballs here, buddy. You want to do one every single week? Well, how about not?" So I'm trying to. I'm kind of thinking that I could find a way to make it up. I do want to get 50 podcast episodes done in a 365 day period. So I started this in I think March 1st or something like that. Real close to that. First week of March. So I've missed the last couple. Well, I don't know. I've been spotty the last 3 or 4 weeks because of my lack of time and having to spread myself thin. So maybe I'm going to try and get some interviews at some point. I'm really not trying hard right now to book those. I've got one person interested, and then I've one person didn't acknowledge me, and that's all I really tried for. So is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I do want to keep the one man show thing for the most part. So here I am with my dick in my hands. It's more than you needed to know. In my living room with my dick in my hand. So it's not. So yeah, I didn't get to fish. So maybe this week I'll have a little bit more time. I think I will be able to give myself a little break here and get out, and I'll leave that to the game plan at the end of the episode, as you faithful ass listeners know. Yesterday I was recording the podcast. I took an edible and started recording it, and so I've been working Grubhub for the last I guess pretty much. Actually, I think they emailed me this morning that said, it's been a year since you started, and I'm like, oh, how tragic. But they sent me a gift certificate and I could apply it towards like a lot of different things, and they offered me like free CBD THC gummies, and I was like, that's kind of weird for like a place that values my driving skills to offer me that, but it is what it is, so I took it. So me and my lady have been just like taking like half of like a 25 milligram CBD to 5 THC, and like I really haven't consumed any amount of THC in like a couple of years outside of this little purchase or whatever, this little thing that Grubhub gave me. So it's been making me a little bit more creative without making me too anxious. So I decided to throw it at try it with the podcast and free my mind, man, and see what kind of ideas I'd come up with. And I always scrap. I generally record this twice. I record, I guess, like a dress rehearsal, and then I go, wow, that was really bad. And then I make one that's slightly less bad, and I put it out. So I had some really interesting ideas, and I don't know if I'll air them out during this podcast, but there's definitely one or two things that I should put in motion. We'll say, not that I have any business leverage or traction or whatever to do that, but I think it's like, you know, I sound smart sometimes, right? So people should respect me eventually, right? So, yeah. Well, anyways, so I don't know what the fuck I said last week. I wrote down stuff. I should look at it, but I won't. And that's something I went over on while I was high. I was like, I need to keep myself more accountable. That's my high voice. So, yeah, I am gonna, like, when I say, but I won't, which most of the time I've been saying that, you know, like I could look it up, but I won't. I say that when I'm just trying to make a point, like a very general point, but, you know, it's good to fact check things, and I don't have a what do you call it, you know, a Dobby in back to fact check, a little engineer creature. So yeah. So that's the reports for the day. Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, no, I didn't have anything. But I did, I've been working in different parts of town, and I found a body of water that holds grass carp. So I'll be playing hide and seek with the police to catch a grass carp. So that's on the agenda. So yeah, that's about it for the reports. Moving on. So I was looking into barometric pressure, and you know, it's sort of common knowledge for you know, for fishermen to fish in prefrontal conditions, when a front is coming through and you see the pressure dropping. It's like, now's the time to get in. But like in Southern California, I've watched that. I'm like, oh, like rain's coming. So let me look at the barometric pressure and see how I should time my fishing trip if I'm going to go fish before the rain or like a huge windstorm or whatever. And every time I look, honestly, Southern California doesn't have that much of a pressure variance between, you know, like serious storms and not. Like I've been watching actually this week is even more opposite of turbulent. Like last week it was staying between 29.75 and 30.05. What is that? It's in inches HG. I don't know. So yeah, I'm really educated on this subject, so here I am speaking about it. But yeah, so I was like, okay, well, you know, what happens between, like, you know, it's normal weather, and then here comes like the 12 hours of shitty weather. And honestly, it doesn't move the pressure doesn't move that much. It moves by like 0.05 or something like that. And then if you look on a normal day, there's normal swings. There's like 4 swings. It's kind of like a tide in a way, except it's not guided by the moon. So like it rises from like, in general, it rises from 4 to 10 on AM and PM, and then it drops from 10 to 4. And so, and there's definitely room for leeway. You know, obviously it's not exact, but like that's the general idea. And it only moves up and down by about 0.05 in Southern California. So then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you know, why does this? There's no way this actually matters in SoCal. There's so many other more important or more obvious, factors, like the tide in saltwater, at least, and in the Delta, I suppose, where it's like, you know, like we have like a solid, you know, we're in the 25th percentile of like the strong tide swings, or the 75th percentile of the strong tide swings. So we're going to have like nice water movement. So that's, you know, that's what the fish are waiting for, especially, I don't know, depending on various conditions where they're at and where they're settled, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, you have, water temperature, you know, other stuff like that. So barometric pressure, to me, I don't know if it's actually ever made a difference in my fishing. I hear it does in Southern Californians, like guys who are like really dialed in. I know who said, one of the big bait, one of the swim bait guys, either Butch Brown or somebody like that, Mike Gilbert, or I don't know. Somebody was saying, like, of course it makes a difference. Like, watch it carefully. Do that. You need to do that. And I watch it, and then I don't. So, you know, I'm really more watching tides, TB Quite H, and, you know, just what's fishable for me. And what I got a hankering for. But yeah, so I looked at other parts of the country because why not? And I thought, okay, well, SoCal obviously has like the best weather. So, you know, we have a really stable climate out here. You know, we have that Mediterranean dry climate. So we're always, you know, our winters are mild and our summers are, coast-wise, it's pretty nice. Inland, you know, it gets hot, but it's like it's pretty dry throughout the year, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to tell this to you if you live in SoCal. Elsewhere, you know, now you know. So I looked at Chicago, Illinois, and at least last week I looked at the numbers, and we're between, SoCal is typically between 29.79 and 30.08. And then last week, Chicago was 29.35 and 30.38. So way lower, and then significantly higher. And then Boston was 29.1 up to 30.04. Miami was mild, 29.78 to 30.04. I wasn't sure what to think of that when I was coming into it. It's like, okay, well, they have, you know, they're in a temperate zone, so maybe it's nicer. But I also know that Miami and the tropics have, they have, rain, wild drenching rainstorms for 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's sunny again. So it's kind of reminds me of, Denver, Colorado is kind of like that and all that shit. But Miami's pretty mild. I was staring it down. And then Scottsdale, Arizona is also on the milder side, but not quite. 29.6 to 30.04. And then bear in mind that the standard average pressure is 29.92. So SoCal just, hovers right around there all the time. Although, I mean, I think most of the time we're like 29.97 to 30.05 or whatever. But yeah, we're on the high end in general. So yeah, so that was something I just kind of like put together just to like keep in mind, and like how much should I keep it in mind? And will I keep it in mind? Probably not. But it's something, that was a good little Google sesh. So there you go. If you're in SoCal, do what you want with that. And then but I really think that the rest of the country, or at least like the more turbulent zones, like Chicago, it's the windy city. So that's why I checked it first to see like what kind of wild weather they would get coming off the Great Lakes and stuff like that. So I think like if you're in the Northeast or the Midwest, I really think that barometric pressure would have a huge effect on your fishing, especially since there's like not technically there are always tides, but it obviously so much less of a factor, especially when compared to your turbulent barometric pressure. So so there's that. Yeah. That was the barometric pressure. The next thing is grass carp. So I'm doing work in various parts of the city, and I found a city lake that has grass carp. And on the same sign, like I was like, I don't know, I was pretty tentatively interested in fishing in it. I was like, I wonder what's in there. It's probably just got bass and bluegill and catfish. Like that's what everybody does around here. And then I walked up to a sign and it said, like, if you catch a grass carp, release it. Also, everything else, release it. And also, don't fish here, ever. And so, like, I saw it and I was like, did you just tell me what I wanted to know? That there's a species I haven't caught and then tell me that I can't fish there? Why would you do that? Why would you tell me that there's a fish that I want to catch and then say, oh, and don't fish there? It's like, come on. I'm going to fish there now. So I'm going to ninja fish. So this is if there's any local authorities listening to this, I'm gonna be playing hide and seek with you, motherfuckers. So will you accept the challenge? Because I'm good. So so I'm gonna target grass carp. I don't know if it's gonna be this week or it's gonna be that next week, but I'm gonna do it. Then I'm gonna take a picture, and then that's when I win. I'm gonna say, "You lost, local authorities. You lost." So, yeah. And then if you arrest me, then I guess you win. So the grass carp, I don't know nothing about it other than that it's a carp, And are those the ones that they have like fucking horrible problems with and with being invasive species in certain parts of the world where they're all jumping out of the water and like people are just driving through in boats and just landing them simply by like driving by them? Is that the one? I don't know, but I'm thinking. I was thinking about making a batch of boilies, and because I did that last time I really tried carp fishing was in like 2012 at a local duck pond in Agora Hills, California. And there's a little duck pond over there. Shout out Duck Pond. And there was some carp in there. I farmed one on like my first or second try, and then I went like half a dozen more times getting skunked before I finally hooked one, and I caught it was probably like a 15-pound fish on like 4-pound tests, but it didn't really have anywhere to go, so that wasn't a huge accomplishment, but it was cool. It was nice to get that done, so yeah, so I tried making boilies that time, and boilies, for those who don't know nothing about carping, are basically they're little bagel balls. If you look at the recipe between boilies and bagels, it's the same shit, except you add like different flavorings and different supplements, additives, in order to make it more of an enticing treat. So I was thinking about doing that and like looking up some fresh boilie recipes because I'm sure somebody's I'm sure the boilie industry has been kicking out major innovations in the past 10 years, but I think what I started to think was I have so much ginger root in my kitchen because I like ginger and I put it in little breakfast smoothies, and then some days I really like the spice, and other days I almost throw up from it because it's so goddamn strong. But yeah, I was thinking, well, if they're grass carp, I don't know if I should take it this literally. What if I cut it into what if I cut a little sliver off of the ginger root, and then just put that on the hook, and it's a smelly little guy. It's a smelly little piece of vegetation. Like, would they like that? I mean, they would either love that or they would swim to the other side of the pond because it's, such a odoriferous or flavorful little piece of vegetation. So I looked it up. I did it. I did look it up, and it's an expired website, but like, it's like, but it said there were, I don't know, it was like the second I typed in ginger root bait for carp or something like that, and then somebody said somewhere, and then it's, their website since expired, I guess, but there was a little highlighted piece of the website that said that carp do love ginger, so I'll give that a go. Maybe put it on make some hair rigs and put it on the hair rig, and spend a few late nights looking for a grass carp. So yeah, this ninja fishing trip will be. You'll find me. If you're the local authorities, you'll find me in a bush with no lights on, and I'll be muttering Rage Against the Machine lyrics to myself. So there you go. There's your hints. Now's a thing that I did when I was on an edible. I was standing up. I was like, this could be a whole segment where instead of sitting down, I stand up. And then I could call it, standing up when fishing with Jeremy. That's the segment. So I don't know what I was going to talk about. I do know that I'm trying to. I've got from my musical endeavors, I've got a bunch of different microphones laying around. So I've been using, for you fucking producer nerds like me, I've been using an MXL 700 large diaphragm condenser microphone, and I like it for it. Definitely has a nice, a perfect reference reproduction, like nice flat response, blah blah blah. But there's just too many errant noises going on around my apartment complex where, like, yesterday when I was like dress rehearsaling, there was like a heater turning on in the wall from like the downstairs neighbor. So that was going to give like a really weird hum for like the whole episode. And then every now and then I overhear people talking, and then there's like people, driving by, like showing off their revs or whatever the fuck. So I switched over to my handy dandy AKG D7 handheld dynamic microphone. So it's got a much tighter, what do you call it? Tighter radius of receiving signal. So and I've done a little bit of EQ on it. I didn't have to do any EQ on the other one, which was cool. But I've done just a little bit of EQ here and there for this to make it sound more like more awesome and sick, and my voice becomes sultrier and sexier for you to do things to yourself too. So yeah, so that's I don't know if anybody noticed the change in sound quality for this episode, but that's a thing. So who knows? Maybe I'll play around with some other stuff. But yeah. What the hell was I talking about yesterday? Oh yeah. So So I don't know if this is, what is this, a quarterly report? It's almost a quarterly report. So I'm what, like 10 episodes deep into this shit. And right now I have a whole ass dozen consistent listeners. So I'm actually like pretty stoked about that. So pat yourself on the back. Here we are, boys. We did it. We're still here, maybe, possibly. And I know, I can imagine there's I think I know like at least 3 or 4 of the listeners. So that's cool that like you guys listen. I like that. For different reasons too, and like at different different timings and things like that. So that's kind of neat. It's kind of cool to see like the possibilities of why people would be interested in it, whether you're just in it for like the humor, like shout out Dalton, or you're in it. I mean, he doesn't know jack shit about fishing. So that's it's just kind of like getting like just hearing somebody talk about something they know about. Like, I don't know really jack shit about like aeroplanes or helicopters, but I can listen to people talk about it for like an hour, and like if they have like intent while they're talking about it, then it's pretty interesting. And yeah, so there's that side, and then there's the boys just listening in their downtime over at the tackle shop. Hi, Tommy. I bet you're listening. Maybe not. I haven't confirmed that, but I would think so. You guys are fucking bored over there. So, and then other people. So, hi, Jared. I've talked about Jared. He's he's out there. So, he's out fishing me at any given moment. And then yeah. So it's interesting to see that people are hanging in there through the babble, but I'm trying to put together something interesting and something that flows, and believe it or not, and using some of my musical skill set to put together cute little intermissions and produce this thing all right, and do all that shit. So that's it's been cool. It's been fun. And if I could just fish more, Jesus Christ. Yeah, and then the mosquitoes getting pretty old for me. It's breaking my back every time I get out there. I really got to keep up with when you got a little small boat. Let me tell you something. When you got a little small boat, that you should definitely do like crunches every day, and like work out your lower back and your like core, because if you don't, then I think you're a lot more likely to like compromise your spine, and then you'll be unhappy the rest of your life if you do like try and work in like at least like 100 crunches a day. I haven't been doing that, and I'm feeling it, so I need to get back into that. It's very, very good, because like if I'm doing that, then I feel pretty all right the next day, and definitely like perfectly fine by the rest of the week. And if I don't do the crunches, then like my back just starts falling apart, and like I'm 27, I think. So that's not a good indicator of things to come. So yeah, so you work on yourself, work out. You guys got to do your 20 minutes of walking around the block and lifting tuna cans and shit. So go do that. That's the next part of this podcast. I'm going to lead you all in sets. I'm going to turn on some music, and then we're going to
1, 2, 3, 4, and left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back to the right. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next boat, and I won't be able to fish very much while I'm working on a job that'll get me the money that I want to get the next boat. So I'm probably going to be using the boat significantly less this year. Although, like right now, I can get out Sundays, and then I can get out Tuesdays and Thursdays potentially. I start like at 1, so I could potentially do it. But then it's like, if I'm not physically fit to do both of the things, then I'm then my life's really going to suck. So I'm got to be careful about that. But in the meantime, I should do some shore fishing, like I've been saying. Catch that grass carp, play hide and seek, catch that green sunfish. I need to go on my great green sunfish hunt so that I can post a podcast title, The Great Green Sunfish Hunt, because it sounds nice, and I still haven't caught one, so I need to do that. And then try and make a story out of it. So, yeah, there's that. All right, now it's time for the game plan. What's the game plan? Let's look at the Toxically Positive Windy Weather app and get a feel for the game plan. So I'm a little late to this, but the Grunion runs started. We're into the months where you're not allowed to take them. I believe it's April, May, June that you're not allowed to take Grunions. So don't do that. Don't do that. Just observe them. Just watch them do sexual things with each other and enjoy yourself. So, yeah, there's a Grunion run tonight. I'm posting this on Sunday, May 7. And that'll be 22:40 to 0:40 hours. So, yeah, it's like the third out of the 4 nights or something. And then there will continue to be one tomorrow night, on Monday night, 23:20 to 01:20 hours. So that might be a good time to go throw an LC or something and see if you can't bag a game fish. But I have heard that it's only really I don't know if it's only, but the first night or two are the best, and then after that, they might have the bigger game fish might have filled up on the Grunions. So game plan Monday. What are the tides? At least out here in SoCal. 0620, low of negative 0.7, and then a high of 1310 for 3.2 feet, and then 1650. 2.5 low, so that's a pretty flat afternoon in terms of the current, and then 23-25 6 foot high, so that's potentially a good what do you call that? A shark soaking time. Although it's going to be a shorter period, it's going to be like 3.5 foot at 4.5 seconds. So that's bring your big sinkers. A little wind in your face. But in the morning, if I go to bed early enough, or I don't know if I'll check out the Grunion run tonight or if I'll fish tomorrow morning. But I'm looking at tomorrow morning as a good time to start looking for Corbina with that 0620 low. It's like nice sunrise low. Then I'll have plenty of time to fish and then come back home and then maybe nap it off and then go to work. So that could be that's an idea that I like, but it'll be also a decent morning to take the boat out if you have the time. And water's warmed up to like 62 degrees inshore, so things should be starting to happen. The bass should be popping off. I hear they are, and then although I thought they kind of were before, but whatever. So tuna shouldn't be too far behind in state waters, and then so Tuesday another 7:15 low, and then 14:45 3 foot high. And then another sort of flat late afternoon, and then a high at midnight, 5.6 foot. 3 to 4 feet at 5 seconds in the AM, and then it'll open up the period, but the swell is going to get bigger, 5 feet at 10 seconds in the PM. And then there's going to be a wind event on Tuesday in the in the evening. So don't take the little boats out in the evening unless you feel like being a fucking stupid asshole or whatever. I don't know. Do what you want. So yeah, I'm thinking if I fish, it would be in the morning, looking for the green sunfish right there. That would be the play. A little bit of a short. I mean, I could do the Corbina that morning too. Yeah. Either way goes. Wednesday, pretty much same shit. Short periods. Looking like 3 to 4 to 5 foot at 4.7 seconds. That sounds like bullshit. Decent morning tide, flat afternoon current, no current in the afternoon, and then yeah, same with Thursday, 9:40 a.m. low tide. That's a nice number. You could sleep in and catch the that. And then Friday, similar shit. Saturday, good sunset tide Saturday for if you want to like surf fish or something. I think that looks nice. And then Sunday is Mother's Day. So be good boys. Don't compromise your relationship with your mother unless, you already have, then by all means. 5:55 high tide. That's nice. And then a 12:30 low. So to me, that's the perfect like AM half day boating period. So I think I'm going to, if my outboard is fixed by then, I'm going to drop it off today or tomorrow with a local mechanic, and he's offering I think it's a pretty good deal, and see if I can't get my flywheel fixed or whatever the hell's going on. It might be a spark plug, but I don't have access to a spark plug, and I could probably buy it online, but then I also have, I don't know, I need to buy a fucking, I'm ill prepared out here, I don't, I live in an apartment without a garage, so I have limited places for tools. I really got to get another wrench to take the spark plug off, and I don't have that, and like, if it's something else other than replacing the spark plug or having oil in the spark plug, which I think is the case here, then I'd be like, spending another hour working on that and then buying a spark plug and waiting for that to come, blah blah blah. I think I just want to send it over to this mechanic and have him do it. And I'm thinking about asking him if he could replace the carburetor this week as well, if it wouldn't be too much more money to do that. Like outside of the parts, obviously, it's like $200 on eBay for another carburetor. And so I do want to do that eventually, but if he can do that, then less hassle for me. What was I talking about? Sunday, Mother's Day. I want to take the boat out for an AM trip, and then I want to go have dinner with my family up in Ventura on that evening. But that's also a good sunset tide for you, and then a good good chunking tide this like in the evening. Like if you want to go shark fish, there will be a good tide swing both evenings, like low tide at, I don't know, like midnight or 1 a.m. So that's nice. So yeah, that's my general ideas of what I would do if I was to actually fish this week, which I don't know if I will or not. We'll see what happens. And then as far as the barometric pressure this week, it's incredibly stable. It's so fucking stupid stable. It's like, it's just like tomorrow at 29.97 up to 30.04. Like that's nothing. And like Tuesday, despite the wind event, it's only bouncing around between 29.95 to 30. You want to take advantage of that barometric pressure, son? Go do it. Get it done. I don't see the point of looking at that. So, yeah. But, I mean, that just means stable. Really what that means is, it's such a stable front or stable pressure, so the fish will probably be the fishing will probably get a lot better throughout the week if it stays stable like that. So we'll see. I don't know. Also, just a reminder that I've set up an email for this, so people can email in. And you can also DM me on Instagram if you want. But yeah, I have an email. Please contact me about when I'm off my rocker, or if I'm kind of saying shit like, I wonder about this, and I don't really Google it in that moment. If you know all about it, go ahead and tell me, because I think that would be really interesting. We can get a conversation started on it, and that would really add to the podcast, I'm sure. Like I am trying to bounce around between different styles around the country or around the world, and doing anything I can to be a little bit, a little bit more original and innovative and all that shit. So yeah, if you have something to say, go ahead and say it. I think there's enough people like from around the country and the world listening. Actually, there's a shout out to the guy in fucking Belgium who's listened more than a couple times. That's cool. What are you doing over there? What are you fishing for? What is this nonsense? Tell me all about it. Tell me, sir. And yeah, there's been mostly listeners from California, like up and down the coast, which is all cool. And what else? There was a map. Yeah, just a couple different ones from Europe, and then one from India, and the Northeast, and at least one from Florida. That's cool. So yeah, if you have something to share that you think would be like if you think it would help what I'm doing, or just like my fishing, or like how I'm talking about stuff, if you want to just join in on the conversation, DM me or whatever, by all means do that. And if we get a conversation going, and you just we end up wanting to talk on the show, that'd be cool. That'd be great too. If it can grow organically like that, rather than me like picking and choosing like Instagram personalities or something like that, which I'm interested in doing. But I have a couple friends that are more or less lined up that we just need to settle some dates on when we can go meet up and talk shop on here. But if there's other people that just want to like do like a Zoom meeting, or like from around the country or the world, I'm down to entertain it. So yeah, the email is, I believe it's whenfishingpodcast@gmail.com, and then my Instagram handle is whenfishingwithjeremy Rodda, Rodda. So you can find me in those places, and hopefully reach out. This is I'm the more I think about this, the more I think that this podcast, even though it's a one-man thing right now, it can still kind of serve as a general, conversation. If not a conversation between two people, it's still like reflective of the fishing industry and all that stuff. Like when I was recording my dress rehearsal, I was starting to trash Okuma's website for not offering braid capacities, and I've since decided that actually Okuma might be doing it the best, because what they do is they do a mono capacity, which nobody gives a shit about. Come on, Okuma, get with the times. But there's also they offer the, like, in millimeters, the millimeter diameter of whatever line you put on, and then they offer that yardage. And I think that's actually probably the way to go, because most lines will offer, the stat of the width of the diameter of their line. When and then I don't know what 65 yards or 65 pound Power Pro on a Shimano product like is one thing, but I don't know like how the diameter of Power Pro. So what good does that really do me? And then Avid has like their I think they use Jerry Brown as their standard braid, and like I'm not using Jerry Brown. I hear it's thicker than average, and I don't know what's average, so it's like what the fuck. So, you know, I'm just a sort of trying to be a sort of casual reflection of the fishing industry is all. So, and if you want to join in, that sounds fun to me. So, yeah, that's about it. Good luck. Be safe out there. Have a good one.